Hi guys, my name's Arran. This is the tutorial series for Attack the Horde. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a game over sequence. Sorry, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new area here to have my game over and sequence in. So you can see here I've got my end game, and what I want to do is create a new sequence activation, which is this little thing here. I'm going to move it up next to my enemy spawn. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to use this to create my own end game sequence. So I'm going to clear all inputs. Let's just copy this and steal that. So I want to stop. So this will stop the enemy from being able to. What this will do is it will remove all of my controls, so the player won't be able to move anymore. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into the kill agents, so all the enemies will die. And then what I want to do is create a new input to overlay my score onto. So again, I'm just going to nick this one, change cam, and I'm going to plug it in after my clear input zones, and that way it will stay when all the others get deleted. I'm just going to clear this, and I'm going to name this one end score. And I'm going to add the mobile input zone. Change my object comment as well to the same thing. End score. Okay, now I'm going to open up my zone. Make sure it's set to button, and I'm going to go to my bounds, and I'm going to set the values in, so 0.5, 0.5 to center it to the middle of the screen. I don't like to be quite full size, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change those values to 0.6 and 0.9. Leave active size X and Y as they are, tick relative X and Y, and tick relative size X and Y, and what that does is that makes it so from anywhere between 0 and 1 it takes as a percentage for my size. So if I was to set these two at 1, then it would be full screen, and if they were both at 0 there would be nothing. Okay, I'm going to leave those last two, set my authored scale to 1 and center X and Y, so it's centering the middle of the image, not the corner. Finally, I'm going to go to my rendering. I'm going to change my inactive alpha to 1 so that it's always visible, and I'm going to change my overriding UVs to 512, leaving U and V as they are because I want it to reference from the top left of the image in the coordinates to the bottom right of the image, because my image is 512 in size. I'm then going to find my image here, which is just a game over, displaying score, high score, little skull and crossbones, and I'm going to put that into override texture 1 and 2 because we want it to be the same regardless of whether you're clicking on it or not. And now let's just test that. Now, because I've put it into control setup, this should activate straight away, which means that we can start testing it without having to wait around for the game over to start. So right, I've got enemies still spawning, but my controls have been removed, and it does look like it's worked, at least for the most part. So I want to kill all agents, and let's try a stop as well, see if that works. Okay, it looks like we aren't getting any enemies, so now we are ready to start putting in the high score. So now what our high score is going to be is basically just our kill count. Now, One thing that I noticed when I'm looking at this is that I'm still getting my number of lives left and my total kills in the top left and right. So what I want to do is I want to quickly change that so that they disappear as well. So to do that, I'm just going to go over to the stat display area, create a new bool and plug that in. Now I want this to be defaulted true or 1. And I want to name this variable as well, so stat control. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a toggle, which I'll plug into here. Set that to toggle, create a new named variable, and I'm going to put that as stat control. There we go. So now that should disable the display for my top left and right, which it has done, so that's good. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next section, which will be setting up a comparison for the high score and your score, and then displaying it in the correct areas. So the first thing I need to do is create a compare int, so that'll be in the comparison of, so new condition comparison compare bool. That's not right, sorry, comparison compare int. And let's just put this into here. Okay, so now I want to do the comparison of is is my score higher than the current high score. So to do that, I first need to load my high score. So I need to create a new event level loaded again. Put this in up here, and then I want to create a new load / save values, which is there. Okay, I'm just going to plug the load into the loaded invisible. So at the start of the game, it loads my score and outputs it into a new int, which I'm going to create as a named variable. And I'm going to call this high score. And just plug that into there. And also I'm going to plug it into my B output as well. And then I need another named variable, which I'm going to call kill count, which I've already created in my variables here. And I've just created this one as well. So make sure you've got both these to reference. Okay. So we've got our high score. So now I need to basically say if my score is higher or equal to, or is bigger than or equal to my high score, then I want to replace that. So what I want to do is create a new set int, which is set variable in the new actions and int, and plug that into there. And then I basically want to take my value, which is my new high score, my kill count, and plug it into my high score slot, which it then will save out by plugging this into the save option. So then save that value as my new high score. So now I just want to create the displays for this. So I need a little bit more to say. If you haven't done that, then it needs to say this is your score, this is the current high score, and I need to say this is your new high score, and this is the high score now set, which will both be the same. So what I want to do this is I want to create a convert to string, and then I want to plug these into draw text, which I'm then going to have draw to the screen. Okay, so first I need to convert to string, which, if I remember correctly, it's in the miscellaneous. Yep, so go to new action, miscellaneous, convert to string, and I'm going to want a few of these. I'm going to need about 4 think. Okay, so I want to put this one, put this one into here, and then have these loop into there. And then want it to reference my high score for both of these values. So now it's going to convert my high score to a string and plug that into there. And then if it is, so now if the score is less than, so if A, being my kill count, is smaller than B, which is my high score, it's going to plug up to here and just display the same message but with the current high score and your score, saying you're not good enough. Oops, so I don't want that, we want that in here. Just create a new value. Okay, so now we want to create a string to plug into. Basically, my kills here, high score there, and then I want another one here. I'm just going to go to here. Okay, and then I want to create another bool, which will probably mean set variable bool, and I basically want that to output to these final strings here. Create two values and make this true. And have the value defaulting at false, and then we want some draw text, so let's just nick these. Break all the links and have these plug into here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the object comment because that's just going to be confusing. And I'm just going to be using the same font that we used before. And I'm going to just plug my draw display text into my new string values which I created. Now what this bool does is it just it sets these to visible. So we don't want these to be visible throughout the whole game. We only want these to show up at the end. So I'm going to make these not visible by default. So their activation value is false until this completes, and then it becomes true. So now I just need to set the actual location of these, because at the moment you'll see when I play it's putting them in the wrong area. So to fix that I need to do a little bit more work. So I want to set these coordinates to, luckily I've worked this out before, 0.35 and 0.76 for this one, and then 0.67 and 0.76 for this value. Okay. So now everything is okay. That's alright, that's good. Let's test it out. So yeah, so now I've got my two scores displaying here. These will be a little bit bigger when we actually put it onto a device. So I won't worry about the size, you can change the size if you want to. So yeah. That's now got my score and my high score. Now all that's left to do is to set it so that this only triggers when the end game has been done. So let's go back over to here. It's called end game. So I want to trigger that by typing in end game. Okay, and now this will only trigger when we run out of lives.